He looked straight into my eyes and said, "This marriage isn't love, it's revenge." And in that moment, it felt like my entire world was ripped away. I never imagined that the man I chose to spend my life with would become the reason for my destruction. Everything had started like a dream, a luxurious house, expensive gifts, and his quiet, intense gaze that always pulled me closer. But on our wedding night, reality suffocated me. He came closer, but there was no love in his eyes, only hatred. "Did you really think I loved you?" he said coldly. "This was all a game to take revenge on your family." My hands began to tremble. "But why?" I barely managed to ask. He laughed, a laugh that cut straight through my heart. "Your father ruined my father, and now I will ruin you." From that day on, my life became a prison. Every word he spoke, every move he made, reminded me that I was just a piece in his revenge. But strangely, sometimes his eyes would change, as if he was getting lost in his own game. One night, when I was silently crying, he came to me, and for the first time there was softness in his voice. "If I leave all of this behind, could you ever forgive me?" I looked at him, and a new war began inside my heart. I didn't answer him right away. How could I? The same man who had shattered me was now standing in front of me, asking for forgiveness, like he hadn't destroyed everything I believed in. "Forgive you?" I finally whispered. "You married me to break me, and now you want peace?" He didn't look away this time. "I didn't expect things to change," he said quietly, "but they did." I let out a bitter laugh. "People like you don't change. You just get tired of your own cruelty." His jaw tightened, but he didn't argue. And that silence somehow hurt more than his harsh words ever did. Days passed, but something was different now. He wasn't as cold. He didn't throw cruel words at me anymore. Sometimes I'd catch him staring at me, not with hatred, but with something confusing, something almost like regret. One evening, I slipped on the stairs. Before I could hit the ground, his arms caught me. For a moment, time froze. "Are you okay?" he asked, his voice filled with real concern. I quickly pulled away. "Don't pretend." "I'm not pretending," he said, frustration creeping into his tone. "Not anymore." That night, I couldn't sleep. His words echoed in my mind. Not anymore. The next morning, I found something unexpected in my room. A file. Curiosity pulled me toward it. My hands hesitated before opening it, but when I did, my breath got stuck. Inside were documents, old records, financial papers, and one photograph. A photograph of his father standing next to mine. But they weren't enemies in that picture. They were smiling. Confusion rushed through me. If our families were once close, then what really happened? My heart started pounding as a terrifying thought crossed my mind. What if everything he believed was a lie? Just then, the door creaked open behind me. I quickly closed the file, my heart racing. Looking for something? His voice came from behind me. I turned slowly. He was standing at the door, his eyes fixed on me, sharp, searching. I found this in my room, I said, trying to steady my voice. "Why is this here?" He walked closer, his expression darkening the moment he saw the file in my hands. "You weren't supposed to see that." "Then tell me why I shouldn't see it," I shot back. "You said my father destroyed your family, but this," I held up the photograph, "this doesn't look like enemies." For a moment, he froze. And that was the first crack I saw in him. "That picture means nothing," he said coldly, but his voice lacked its usual strength. "It means everything," I whispered. "You built this entire revenge on something. But what if it's not true?" His eyes flickered with anger. "Don't try to defend your father. I'm not defending anyone." My voice broke. "I'm trying to understand why my life was ruined for a story that might not even be real." Silence filled the room. Then suddenly, he grabbed the file from my hands. "You don't know anything," he said, but this time, it sounded more like he was trying to convince himself. "Then tell me, I stepped closer, refusing to back down. Tell me what really happened. For a long moment, he said nothing. Then finally he spoke, his voice low, heavy. My father trusted yours, he began. They were partners, like brothers. My breath caught. But one day, everything collapsed. Money disappeared. My father was blamed, humiliated. He lost everything. And a week later, his voice tightened. He died. I felt a chill run through me. And you think my father did it? I don't think. He snapped. I know. Or, you were made to believe that, I said softly. That hit him. I saw it in his eyes, the doubt, the hesitation he had been burying for years. Who told you all this? I asked carefully. He looked away. A man who had no reason to lie, or every reason to, I whispered. His fists clenched. Enough. But I wasn't done. Have you ever questioned it? Even once? Or was it easier to hate me than to face the truth? For the first time, he had no answer. The room felt heavier, like the truth was right there between us, waiting to be uncovered. And then, his phone rang. He glanced at the screen, and his face changed instantly. Tension. Shock. Something darker. What happened? I asked. He didn't respond. He just stared at the phone, then slowly looked up at me. They found new evidence, he said quietly. About our fathers. My heart stopped. What kind of evidence? He took a deep breath, the kind that could destroy everything we believed. My heart pounded so loudly I could barely hear anything else. What kind of evidence? I asked again, my voice trembling. He looked at me for a long moment, then said, We need to go. Now. The drive was silent, heavy with everything unsaid. When we reached his old family office, a man was already waiting for us. Without wasting time, he handed over a folder. My hands shook as he opened it. Inside were bank records, transaction histories, and one signed document. The truth hit like a storm. The money that had disappeared was never taken by my father. It was transferred by a third partner, someone both families trusted. A man who had framed his father and used mine as a cover. No, he whispered, stepping back. This can't be. But it was. Every piece of evidence pointed to the same person. The man who had told him the story, the man who had fed his hatred for years, was the real culprit. He lied to me, his voice broke. All these years, I destroyed you for a lie. I felt tears burn my eyes, but this time, they weren't just from pain. They destroyed us, I said softly. He dropped to his knees, running his hands through his hair like everything inside him had shattered. I wanted justice, but I became the very thing I hated. For the first time, I saw him not as the man who broke me, but as someone who had been broken too. Silence filled the room. Then slowly, he looked up at me. I don't deserve forgiveness, he said, but if there's even the smallest chance, I'll spend my whole life making this right. I closed my eyes for a moment. The pain, the betrayal, the sleepless nights, all flashed before me. But so did something else. The moments when his eyes softened, the times he tried to change, the truth we had just uncovered. When I opened my eyes again, my voice was calm. Forgiveness isn't something you ask for once, I said. It's something you earn, every single day. A fragile hope appeared in his eyes. And I don't know if I can love you the same way again, I continued, but I'm willing to see if something new can grow from all this. He nodded slowly, like he understood the weight of those words. Because this wasn't a happy ending. It was something harder. Something real. A beginning after destruction.